Ukrainian SOF operators entered Russian positions where they weren't expected. Operators from one of the units of the Special Operation Forces carried out a successful reconnaissance mission in the northern Slobozhansky direction. SOF group moved beyond the front line of Ukrainian positions and stealthily entered territory controlled by the enemy. After additional drone reconnaissance, the operators began direct action maneuvers they had repeatedly refined during training and previous missions. The main firepower of the group, the machine gunner, provided suppressive fire against the enemy. The marksman, using optics, eliminated hiding opponents with precise single shots. Another subgroup of operators approached the positions at close range and engaged the Russians in direct combat. The disoriented and panicked enemy was completely destroyed. SOF group captured enemy documents and communication equipment, then successfully conducted an exfiltration. Meanwhile, Ukrainians retake the initiative in Dnipropetrovsk. With the Ukrainian brigades reorganized, they're immediately turning the tide and defeating the Russians in the field, showing the difference one good commander can make. In turn, Russians have abandoned all hope of a successful attack and are forced to move around. But the Ukrainian soldiers had one last trick up their sleeve. The turning point came with the reform in Ukrainian 141st Brigade, as after a period of poor performance and degraded command practices, the brigade was reshaped under Shevchuk, who removed Soviet-style military thinking and rebuilt unit culture around modern combined arms practices. The change is evident in tighter small unit coordination, clearer fire control procedures, and a restored emphasis on discipline and logistics. The cultural shift has directly translated into faster decision cycles on all levels by giving non-commissioned officers increased agency, more reliable liaison with artillery and drones, and an ability to conduct sustained clearing operations rather than a failing defense. As a result, the 141st has expanded its counteroffensive effort northward, mounting systematic clearing and interdiction missions that extend into Novosilivica and surrounding gray zones. First, reconnaissance drones swept the target area and picked out a small Russian patrol moving along the tree line. Their positions and routes immediately passed to forward observers. Using these coordinates, Bohdana self-propelled guns targeted these locations and fired precise tube artillery rounds that bracketed and suppressed the enemy positions.
Careful, careful, careful. Nice and easy, Bogdan.
As the gunners finished, Ukrainian infantry moved in to clear all the Russian soldiers that remained. With calm, purpose, and high levels of aggression, they moved through the houses, cleared rooms and streets, and secured prisoners, turning the sequence from detection to destruction to clearance in a single well-timed operation. Due to the sudden intensity and effectiveness of the Ukrainian counterattacks, Russian commanders decided to shift their offensive focus away from the 141st. To maintain momentum, small recon groups were sent to probe Ukrainian defenses, of which only the group moving to Oleksivka survived long enough to make contact. However, as the recon group was small and without staying power, they were quickly killed by Ukrainians who had holed up inside the settlement. Nonetheless, Russian commanders decided that shifting their focus to Oleksivka would still be better than engaging the 141st directly, as it would completely stall their advance. Moving multiple launch rocket systems into position, they started hammering Oleksivka in preparation for further assaults. However, the goal of the Ukrainian counterattacks had succeeded, as breaking the Russian momentum toward Veli Mykolivka had bought time for Ukrainian drone units to establish persistent overwatch and deeper interdiction coverage. Footage from Novosibirsk shows FPV teams providing direct fire support for advancing Ukrainian squads, marking moving targets and striking short-range infantry groups as they try to push in. Later clips show the same FPV crew intercepting and striking Russian attempts to bypass the brigade, including strikes on small groups that tried to use Oleksivka and adjacent tracks, repeatedly stopping Russian bypass attempts before Ukrainian artillery or infantry even had to intervene. Going around, the 141st lengthens Russian supply routes and forces convoys onto main roads, and with the mud season beginning, those longer, exposed roads will be only practical routes that they can take. These open and exposed roads will be prime targets for the now set-in Ukrainian drone operators in target, turning them into roads of death, even as Russian infantry attempts to move through tree lines, which traditionally have less mud due to the roots holding the ground better together. These will be the only paths forward, and in turn will be heavily shelled and targeted by Ukrainian drone and artillery units as well. Overall, the 141st's reorganization under Shevchuk has produced a tactical shock that already shows operational consequences, as Russian units are avoiding directly engaging them, while going around might spare Russian forces fighting the 141st. They will also have longer and fewer safe routes to take, and moving troops or supplies will be even more exposed to drones. At last, the Ukrainian counterattacks came right in the nick of time, as with the weather already turning and the mud fields starting to form, ensuring that their drones can maintain continuous operations will be crucial in maximally exploiting the seasonal terrain.
Майбутнього!